If Formula 1 is the pinnacle of racing, then the Mercedes W11 is the pinnacle of Formula 1. The final form, the perfect evolution. This and more on the first episode of Obnoxious Race Cars. The W11 was one of the greatest F1 cars ever developed. It was a specimen of engineering and a nightmare for the rest of the grid. It's not the most legendary or the most winningest, but it is arguably the fastest racing car of all time around a real circuit. It broke numerous track records in 2020, some still standing today, and still boasts the fastest lap in F1 history. Not only did it run the most thermally efficient power unit of its time, it also pioneered the DAS system, a cheat code design so clever that it was immediately banned for use for the next season. The W11 stands on the shoulders of a special era of the sport. In 2017, the FIA introduced rules allowing for wider cars and tires. This made for record levels of downforce and mechanical grip. Teams would optimize the performance of these cars throughout the next several seasons, culminating in record performance numbers in 2020. A development freeze in 2021 hindered teams from improving performance much further. These regulations existed until 2022, where the formula was nerfed in favor of closer racing. The W11 would not be as legendary without its prime pilot, Lewis Hamilton, winning over half of the races in 2020. One such race was Belgium, where Lewis would put together a lap that would put the rest of the grid to shame. "2020 was a boring year for F1, but we need to appreciate this gem so that future motorsport fans will too." The Porsche 919 Hybrid was one of the most technologically advanced attempts at winning the race of races. In between 2014 and 2017, it snatched 3 victories at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, 3 Drivers' Championships, and 3 Constructors' Championships. The late-stage LMP1 cars were an engineering showcase, and the 919 was no different. It produced a striking 1,000 horsepower while weighing just under 900 kilograms. A complex drivetrain meant temporary 4-wheel drive, the 919 fitting a 248 horsepower MGU onto its front axle. Retiring on a high note in 2017, Porsche engineers decided to say farewell in style. In April of the next year, they went on tour with a modified 919, being driven in demonstration runs across various tracks for us all to witness. The 919 Evo was a project designed to forsake the technical regulations of the WEC. The one-off project allowed for engineers to realize the 919's true potential. By reducing fuel flow restrictions, the engine was then made more powerful, and the power output of the electric motors was also increased by about 150%. By removing the air conditioner, windshield wipers, and other miscellaneous electrical devices including the literal headlights, the new Evo shaved about 86 pounds overall. Porsche even went as far as to contact Michelin to develop a special tire compound. Finally, designers went bonkers on the aero, with active J.R.S. similar to a Formula 1 car, a giant diffuser, and a massive rear wing. The Evo's first target was Spa, where it broke the literal lap record. That is to say, faster than a Formula 1 car, with a time of 1:41.77. This made then pilot Neil Yanni 12 seconds quicker than the original 919 around Spa. The Nordschleife is the final boss of motorsport and the front stage of a car's performance metrics. The fastest time set across the 13-mile course is 6:11, set in 1983 and held by none other than Porsche in their legendary 956. Several decades later, Porsche would return to break its own record. On that day, Timo Bernard and the 919 became one, setting a lap time of 5 minutes and 19 seconds, almost a minute faster than the previous record. One of my favorite tropes in racing is when teams take the slow, mundane, and otherwise uninteresting cars and morph them into purpose-built racing machines. This gets bonus points if the car turns out to be successful and iconic. That is why this third car holds a special place in my heart. The first-gen Suzuki Ecuto, also known as the Vitara, Sidekick, or the Geo Tracker, was an extremely normal, compact SUV with no bells or whistles whatsoever. Something someone in their mid-20s might use to get from point A to B. Now, there's nothing wrong with cars that are just appliances. In fact, every now and then, there might just be some untapped racing potential. The Suzuki Ecuto was a purely mental, purpose-built, hill climb racing car, built with a single objective to scale Pikes Peak as fast as possible. Designed by Suzuki and Japanese driver Monster, it competed and evolved throughout the mid-90s. Consisting of 156 corners across 14.5 miles, the Pikes Peak hill climb, also known as the Race to the Clouds, has been run annually for over a century. The time trial is now fully paved, but the Ecuto had it a bit tougher back when it raced. This point-to-point time trial is unique in that not only does it test a car's performance and driver skill, it also tested driver nerve. Similar to endurance racing, the hill climb consists of several competing divisions, including time attack, open wheel, and the anything goes unlimited class. This is where the Ecuto comes in. It consisted of two 2.5-liter twin-turbo V6 engines, one driving each axle, and produced nearly 1,000 horsepower. Its bright red livery and huge aero elements render it unmistakable. The Suzuki Ecuto, nearly as wide as it was tall, is the most obnoxious car of all time.